All right, hey, what's up everybody? It's episode 5 of the Let's All Lift show. I'm Brock in the gym, and today I'm just gonna talk about squatting and why you should not be afraid of it. Squatting is a compound movement, meaning that you're moving multiple joints, targeting multiple muscles, all within the same movement. You could hold that in contrast to an isolation movement where you're just targeting one muscle, moving one joint. And the reason that I say that you should not be afraid of a squat is because the amount of work that you can do in a shorter amount of time is greatly increased by doing a compound movement like the squat rather than sitting on a leg extension machine, a leg curl machine, and then doing some type of hip thrust. Like the amount of time that it'll take you to do these 3 movements will be probably twice as much as the amount of time it would take you to do a squat where you can hit all of those muscles, plus work on your core stabilization and your spine and back stabilization as well. So I know why a lot of people are scared of a squat or don't really want to do squatting in their programs, and it's because it's hard. And well, that's part of it. Part of it's hard, part of it's the load on the spine, which I get, and there's ways to mitigate that. And part of it is that it's technically difficult and people just don't want to invest the time and effort into improving their technique before they get under a barbell. But I would encourage anybody who's interested in getting the maximum amount of gains in the shortest amount of time in the gym to really focus on their technique on compound movements. Because if I just went into the gym and did a squat day and the only thing I did was squats and it was a half hour, I could get a ton of work in. And then the next day, if I did an upper body day and all I did was a bench press and I paired it with a barbell row, I could do those 2 movements in a half an hour. And for an hour of work, I've targeted most of my body and I'm gonna get great results with just a super simple program like that. And then from there, if I see a specific muscle that I've got that I wanna develop individually, then I can go in later and take some extra time to work on those individually. But if the core of my program isn't made up of compound movements, I'm gonna spend way more time than I need to developing individual muscles versus just doing them all at the same time in a super functional movement that's actually a lot of fun to do once you get the technique right. So I'd encourage anybody who's sort of afraid of a squat or doesn't really want to get into that because of any number of reasons to really reconsider that. Another thing I should mention too with squatting is that a lot of people have trouble getting down to 90 degrees, and that's sort of part of the reason why they don't enjoy squatting is because that last 10 or 20 degrees as they get to the bottom of their squat is pretty difficult. If you're somebody who's just getting into squatting, you can mitigate some of that problem by wearing a pair of lifting shoes. They'll raise your heel, which makes it easier to drop down into that squat. Another thing you can do is a lot of gyms will have small ramps that you can put on your heels, raising your heels. Anything to raise your heels is gonna make it a lot easier for you to get down into the bottom of your squat. And when you are picking weightlifting shoes, you should not use running shoes. The heel is gonna be squishy, it's gonna be hard for you to stabilize on your heels, which is where you should sit down into a squat on your heels, not on the ball of your feet. And choosing a shoe that's wide, flat, stable is gonna help you squat much better than using a pair of foam running shoes. The last thing I'll say about squatting and leg day in general is that if you're a guy, and I know you wanna be like broader at the shoulders and narrower at the waist, but if you neglect leg day, like people are gonna end up noticing at some point, and it's just not a good look to be stick leg guy. So emphasize a leg day, at least 1 day a week. Please, for the love of God, do some squatting. And if you're a woman who's afraid of squatting, I think that you should rethink that because squatting is probably gonna be the #1 bang for your buck movement in terms of getting the physique and the results that you're looking for. So that's all I have in episode 5 of the Let's All Lift show. Don't be afraid of squats. Squats are awesome. Compound movements are great. If you wanna save time in the gym and get better results, embrace your technique on a compound movement and it's gonna pay dividends later. So thanks. We'll see you in episode 6. Like, comment, subscribe, hit all the stuff, and we'll see you later. Peace.